Secondly, we have a special moment as a country that the country has set to enhance its transformation agenda. We have the Vision 2030 as laying the strong foundation, and currently in the last term of the development plan of the Vision 2030, we have the bottom-up transformation agenda with the 5 focus areas. One of it specifically touches our sector, the digital superhighway and creative economy, clearly opening an opportunity for all of us. So I think we stand at a great moment where we have huge opportunities ahead beyond what we've achieved. And we're looking forward to work with you. Chairman and Dr. Fiona said we have the 52% for government and 48% by the private sector. We really appreciate the work many of you have done to support us in this agenda. Connectivity, we are doing very well, and we really appreciate. We've also looked at how do we create something new. Manufacturing Asoka, thanks to Safaricom and the other partners, we really celebrate you. You've introduced a new industry which didn't exist in our country, the electronics industry. Can we clap for Safaricom and the team? We've also seen manufacture of fiber, which is a huge milestone. We're expecting to see the other electronics, the routers, the switches, and more so we'll go to radio network equipment and probably core network in the future, and really making Kenya a key technology country. On the systems part, we still see a lot of room to be done. Thanks again, we've started seeing collaboration from technology partners coming to support government in digitization. Our commitment of 48% is not only on connectivity. We want you to play a role in the actual digitization. Thanks to Safaricom, we are also doing the healthcare system. Thank you for that support. We still have a huge other ministries. We encourage the rest of you to start coming to talk to us. Which ministries would you like to help us to lead? Which sectors do you want to partner? We look forward to you supporting us on that. There is also growth of young enterprises. We were in Cape Town with Wasiri, and I was very pleased to meet very youthful entrepreneurs who are coming in our sector. We asked the big corporates to mentor these young upcoming enterprises. I think we were with the chairman of TESPOC, and to see young entrepreneurs in our sector, I think there is potential of growth of new enterprises which will create more job opportunities and more wealth for our country. We want to encourage more collaboration and partnership in this space. When we look at the network coverage, we've done very well. The caps was on smartphones, and something is being done. On the fixed broadband connectivity, we have only 1.3 million connections. Our target is to have every home, starting with those who have power, to be connected with broadband connectivity. That's the opportunity you have as players. We have 1.3 million, and there are potential of 9.6 million homes and businesses to be connected. We are looking forward to you, private sector, to help us make this happen. On government connections, we have 74,000 public institutions that we need to connect. We have 25,000 public Wi-Fis. We have the overall rising of the digital economy, the e-commerce, digital rise of digital platforms. We are looking at you to ensure these emerging wealth and growth areas, Kenya is not left behind. We do not want to just be facilitator. We want to be active players, and we are relying on you. I don't want to speak beyond there. Thank you very much, and we thank our Siri for the good job. She's an insider, and she's helping us now to move to the next level, and has interacted with many of you. Let's all support her and support our president, so that this sector is one sector that it comes to 2027, the targets we've set, we make sure we have realized. And I think we'll have even one-to-one engagements going forward to make sure we achieve our targets. Data center is interesting space. We want Kenya to be a data hub, global. We will support you to make sure we realize that. Policies we've addressed, and we are willing to consider the challenges on way leaves. I think we're working with ICTA, we are working with Wasiri, with the COG, to ensure that that space, they still have few challenges, but I think these forums will enable us to resolve all of them. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. You can see what we would have missed if Tanui had not spoken. Cabinet Secretary, the Minister of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, and all the distinguished players led by TESPOC, players of this industry. I have a few things to share with you, while cognizant of the fact that I need to be brief. The first thing I want to, ladies and gentlemen, to share with you is that just before the last general election, President Ruto made very wide consultations with the public on what they want Kenya to look like. He actually did that in a process that culminated in the signing of charters with the people of Kenya. The result of those consultations were twofold. The first one, which was captured in the manifesto, was the priority areas after winning the elections. Then the second one was the medium-term objectives. These priority areas, among others, were to bring down the cost of living, boost our foreign exchange reserves, stabilize the Kenya shilling, eliminate hunger, and create jobs. Those were the priority areas. But as a result of the consultations with the people of Kenya, the president also was able to summarize the main concerns of the people. Around 2022, our country was not doing very well. The prices of foodstuffs were very high. Our foreign exchange reserves were very low. Remember, there was even a struggle to buy fuel at one time because we didn't have enough dollars. This was a matter of concern. What was worse is that we were among the leading importers of food within the African continent. And some of this food was coming from Malawi and Zambia. This affected the entire economy and pushed the prices very high if we consider that some of the food we consume was also important for the manufacture of animal feeds. Our environment was also in a mess. Many small businesses were not working. So apart from those priority areas that you talked about, namely enhancing foreign exchange reserves, eliminating hunger, creating jobs, stabilizing our shilling, the president knew that he has a job to do for 5 years. His agenda is captured in the 5-6 pillars, which are medium term, to cover the 5-year period. Ladies and gentlemen, these 5, without any order of preference, include food security and agriculture, housing and settlement, medium and micro and small and medium enterprises, small businesses, universal health care, and of course, you have this digital superhighway to run the pillars, and now climate change and the environment. That is the president's dream. It is important to reiterate this for the industry players because the President is aware that the family of service providers for technology will play a quintessential role in promoting and driving the entire country. The President was hoping, and I'm sure he's delighted with what's happening, that you will help him to migrate the rest of the country onto digital platforms. So that's where your importance is. And I suppose this is the reason why we are here. We are here to celebrate the contribution of important stakeholders who are working with the President and the entire country to achieve the medium-term goals and also to support the immediate priorities for our country. As the President observed a few days ago in Parliament, we may not have achieved what we wanted at the bare maximum. But definitely when you talk about foreign exchange reserves, we are not where we were in 2022. And that is not porojo. That is not lies. Our shilling was 160 something per dollar. Today it is 128. Those of you have been trying to keep some dollars to hope that when you go back again saying that we are not struggling to get dollars to import fuel and many other things. And those who are importing things from China also know, and other parts of the world, that our foreign exchange reserves are not as scarce as they were in 2022. This is again a fact, it's not a lie. So ladies and gentlemen, the cost of food has also come down. Again, this is not a lie. I see very many people, and I'm sure there are some of our members in the media, trying to say things which are not true. Some of the things that our media people do here cannot be tolerated in other countries. Please, change a little bit. The truth of the matter is that the 2 kilogram unga, jogo, had become wild. The prices were wild. They were in the 280 to 270 range. Today, they are just about 130. And if you come from maize growing areas like myself, a 2 kilogram maize can will just cost you about 50 shillings. Now, this is not where our country was in 2022. So we may not have reached the expectations of people, but I think it has come. But who has also helped us to achieve this objective? TESPOC, technology service providers of Kenya, have been critical. At this point, I want even to thank you that when we called on some of your members to support us to make sure we secure national exams, you did very well. I want you to clap for everybody who did that. So the government knows you are partners and you have played a major, major role in making things work. You are part of the digitization process. If you are not there, people will not order for small things from China, and when they arrive here, they deliver them to Kisii. It is your platforms that are helping our people communicate. So MSMEs, which is a big agenda in the president's thinking, which is also a big agenda for us in Kenya, will not work without you. You have heard we are now establishing platforms to deliver fertilizer. If you are not there, our efforts in agriculture will come to zero. And that is a fact. And you are playing that role very well. If you are not there, the housing scheme would collapse. How are we going to order for cement? I'm sure on these platforms you see How many of you, even when you stay in Nairobi and you are doing a construction at home, you tell people, you tell a shopkeeper or a cement dealer to deliver some cement to a site so that you can put up some structure in your home. You don't have to physically travel to your village to have things done. This is being done because these platforms that you control are helping us to achieve that. Ordering materials for housing. Above all, you are facilitating the creation of jobs, not just in your industry, but in many other places. Right now, there are people who have started putting up tending tree nurseries to support the 15 billion trees that the president wants us to grow. You again, if you don't sell the seedlings in your own area, you can get market. But to get market, you don't have to travel. Government digitization is also going on, as you know. There have been about just 350 around 2022 services. Now we are onboarding more services. And in line with the priority areas, this onboarding has reduced revenue leakages in our country, that now we're collecting more money than we were able to do 2 years ago. So I could go on and on, but I'm talking about the fact that you have been part and parcel of the president's agenda, the Kenyan covenant, which made the president and his government to be elected. So as we gather here, we appreciate that big thing, and we must know you are not just here for showbiz. You are an important part. The bottom-up transformation would not be where it is now without you. So we really appreciate you. And so we also appreciate that you have had challenges. I could see Fiona, my sister Fiona. Welcome to the club. I think you raised a number of challenges. We know those challenges are there. We also have challenges which we would like to share with you. For example, with the critical infrastructure situation which you raise, we really think that as we meet, while you could blame government for not moving the bill forward at one point, but you know that even your own industry doesn't have an agreement on what critical infrastructure is. The definition of critical infrastructure, as I pointed out elsewhere, is a moving target. If, for example, you are digging the trenches and you want to put the fiber, you will be worried about the water pipes, the sewage overhead. You won't have to worry about it. So it graduates from critical infrastructure to an non-issue, depending on the strategy you use. So you have also to help government to come out with a better definition of what is composed of critical infrastructure, and you must think 30 years, 50 years from now, so that some of the things you think are not critical infrastructure can easily become critical infrastructure in a few years to come. My challenge to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, is to ask. My brother Tanuya has talked about digitization. From the day one, government said it will do 52% of the digitization project across the country. The rest will be private sector, 48%. How much of that percentage has your team taken over? How much have you exploited so far? And if you have not exploited that bit, what are the challenges that you think government can make an intervention in so that it helps you go forward? So as you do your advocacy, capacity building, and research, you need to provide us with the data. I think there are also complaints about taxation regimes. So you really need to tell us how best can we proceed. If one tax is not good, it's not enough to just get out and say, the government is taxing us. What is it that you think will cause problems, especially for our agenda? I encourage you to look at our agenda clearly, the issues that I've raised around our manifesto, and then say, come and tell government that if you do this tax, you do this measure, you undertake this measure, it even affects your agenda more than it supports it. And with that data-driven approach, we are likely to make a lot of progress. We think that we are partners, conjoined at the hip, and we're not going to leave each other. The little disagreements that we get sometimes through licensing, it's not about government doing things deliberately to hurt the industry. Sometimes also our members do some things that make it very tough for government. There are people who, after they have failed to pay a license from one platform, they rush to another one without you knowing. Then they roam around. So actually, what Mugonyi has been doing, he has been running after them. And sometimes when you see him looking exhausted, it's because he has hit his head on the door as he pursued. You know, have you ever chased a rabbit? It doesn't work. So, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure Mugonyi doesn't keep running with a thimble everywhere, also, let there be some little discipline within our members and try to blacklist those who are trying to move from one operator to another to just escape certain responsibilities so that our country moves as one. So government is willing to give the necessary incentives, and I'm happy that you have chosen made the right decision to invite our distinguished cabinet secretary to come here and share some sentiments with you, some opinions on what she thinks can be done, and also you share with her what you think. Some of those things you think about have been captured in the addresses we have just received a few moments ago, but at least we now think that we have the right footing, we have the right people to work with, and we look forward to improving our relationship for the good and for the progress of our country. So, without saying more, I think I will stop there and now ask you to be upstanding to welcome our Cabinet Secretary in charge of the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Margaret Nyambura. Welcome, Cabinet Secretary. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Our peers, Professor Edward Kisiangani and Engineer Tanui, DG David Mugonyi, Stanley from ICTA, David from the Media Council, and all the CEOs we have here, Chairman of TESCO, James Turuthi, Dr. Fiona Asonga, I think they forgot to put that one, it should always be remembered, Chief Executive Officer, TESPOC, technology providers, distinguished guests, good morning. It's a real honor to be here and to hear so many internet service providers that are operating in Kenya in various forms. And this reminds me of 1996, when I started working for Africa Online. How many of us were working at that point? 1996. Yeah, so I think there were only two internet service providers, Africa Online and Formnet. And basically, you can imagine the change in terms of, I used to do content. And for us to do content, we had to go to Nation physically to correct the pictures and come and scan. And we log into their servers using Unix, Linux to download the content. And so the changes are real. We had to wait until the physical paper is done for us now to start working on the online one. And we'll finish past midnight so that people can wake up and see the content. So the journey has really been real, and I really appreciate the role each one of us has played in that journey. Again, when I go back to organization of the ICT sector, I remember Kenya ICT Federation. Again, who can remember that? I headed that organization in 2006. Before now, we collapsed into KEPSA, and there I was one of the founding coordinator of the ICT sector, education, science and technology, and health. So again, to see the changes from that time, it is quite amazing. We used to have ministerial stakeholder forums, which again I would want us to start having, and we will discuss. And it is through these forums that we are able to see what is affecting the sector, what is cross-cutting, what can we do together, and in so doing, then we're able to collaborate and ensure that we don't pile up challenges, we support each other, because again, we should be complementing. We all want the digital economy to grow for the country, and each one of us has a role. We'd want those people in the rural areas to be well catered for, our mothers, our sisters, our young people. We want all of them to be included in this digital space. And therefore, now let me read my written speak. So let me take this early opportunity to sincerely thank TESPOC and all industry players for finding time to attend this breakfast meeting, being my first formal engagement with the telecommunication industry since my appointment in August this year. As you'd expect, the past 3 months have been learning moments for me to appreciate the incredible contribution of our ICT sector to the larger national aspirations of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. It's different when you are writing policies, you are writing strategies, you are saying the government should do ABCD. Now there I am, I'm supposed to be implementing it. So you can imagine I really have to work very collaboratively with all of you to ensure that what we put in paper, then we are able to implement it. As Cabinet Secretary, I have engaged extensively with stakeholders to understand the opportunities and challenges within the ICT sector. The government recognizes the pivotal role the private sector plays in driving innovation and advancing our nation's digital economy. Aligned with the Better Manifesto, we are committed to creating an enabling environment that fosters investments and positions ICT as a catalyst for growth across all sectors. Through collaboration with the private sector, we aim to build thriving and inclusive ICT ecosystem that drives Kenya's digital transformation. Distinguished guests and colleagues, the digital economy presents immense opportunities for individuals to leverage opportunities, generate income, and contribute to the overall socio-economic development of our nation. The government, through the digital superhighway, is keen on enhancing access to broadband services through our ambitious plan to deploy 100,000 kilometers and establish 25,000 Wi-Fi hotspots and 1,450 ICT hubs across the country. Again, the role of the private sector in all this is critical. We have to ensure that what we are investing is sustainable, and it cannot be sustainable if it is the government that is driving it. And that's where we call all of you to help us come up with the sustainable models. We want the private sector to play a key role to ensure that whatever is implemented, then it can stand all the challenges that there may be, to ensure that we are working with our young people in rural areas, because they are the ones we want to create jobs for. We don't want them to be coming to Nairobi to look for jobs, and that's why we are creating all these hubs and innovation hubs. So let us build capacity. Let us release the data both from government and private sector so that they can use it to innovate, to create digital solutions that are contextualized. Because again, we are saying we want our young people to develop solutions, not for our country only, but also to export. And we can only do this if we are supporting them with data. The private sector, you have a lot of data. Government, you have a lot of data. The civil society, there's a lot of data. Academia, there's a lot of data. And you'd want to have evidence-based policies, implementation, so that we are solving real challenges. These initiatives, along others, being executed Service Fund, seek to ensure Abingwas access to ICT services and to leave no one behind in the digital transformation journey. And again, as we are saying, we are leaving no one behind. Let us all be safe in this digital space. We don't want people driving in a superhighway aimlessly. We want them to be channeled. This energy, we must channel it somewhere. And that this can only happen if they have the right capacity, if they are aware of their digital presence, and they can be confident enough that they are safe and they are able to do businesses online. As you are aware, the digital transformation agenda seeks to ensure digitization of public service to enhance efficiency service delivery. What this means beyond the availability of ICT services, we must enable our citizens. And again, I emphasize our women in rural areas. The reason we are going with all these 1,450 innovation hubs is to ensure that we are including everyone. Let's ensure that we contextualize the training, the capacity building we are doing. Let us accommodate their places. May they be in the health centers, chiefs camps, wherever we can find these young women, these old women, because we are saying all the digital services will be online. How do we expect them to access these services if they don't understand, if they are not well capacitated to be able to navigate through the digital space? So again, I encourage all of you, let us come up with the business models that will take care of these young people, harness these talent, the tech savvy and the like. Let us ensure we are taking them to the right places. We are deeply committed to equipping our citizens, particularly the youth, with the skills needed to thrive the digital economy and create meaningful employment opportunities. One of our flagship initiatives in this endeavor is the Ditume Digital Hub program. This innovative program establishes digital hubs across the country, providing access to state-of-the-art technology and training facilities. Through these hubs, young people gain essential digital skills, access e-services, and tap into online work opportunities. The Ditume program not only bridges the digital skills gap, but also empowers the youth to participate in Kenya's growing digital economy, fostering self-reliance and entrepreneurship in unserved and underserved communities. Distinguished guests and colleagues, Digital Government Services e-Citizen portal has over 19,000 services online. The services include passport and visa applications, birth registrations, company registration services, taxation, custom, and other government services, and more to come. The connectivity and access to affordable devices are deeply intertwined in driving an expanded digital economy. Recognizing this, the East Africa Device Assembly Plant plays a crucial role in ensuring that more citizens can own mobile devices, promoting digital inclusion, creating employment opportunities, and contributing to economic growth. I've just mentioned one. I know many can come up. So we need to ensure we have devices, affordable devices, that everybody can own at less than 10,000, 5,000, even better. Because again, we are saying this is our forum to do business, to be able to engage. Since its launch in October 2023, the facility has produced a substantive number of devices while also generating jobs. By reducing import costs for key components, the government has facilitated a reduction in smartphone prices, making them more accessible to a broader segment of the population. This synergy between connectivity and affordability not only bridges the digital divide, but also drives innovation, increases productivity, and strengthens Kenya's position in the broader digital economy. Kenya's effort in innovation and early adaptation of ICTs are highly regarded the world over. We have a duty and responsibility to enhance this position. Distinguished guests and colleagues, we are equally making significant strides in enhancing digitization to other facets of our economy, including digital court processes, land registry, and other government processes. Again, ICT is an enabler. Let us work with all other government arms to help them digitize. And as we do all these ethical business, I think we need to ensure that is our guiding principle, to ensure that we are sustainability. We are concerned about our country. Yeah, we don't want just to make profits. It's about changing lives. It's about sustainability. It's about contributing to those people in rural areas, to those people who are less enabled, to ensure that we are leaving no one behind. The ongoing reforms in the sector, including reviews of regulatory frameworks, seeks to position the ICT industry to both respond to emerging realities and guide the country into a future of enhanced, meaningful connectivity. To accelerate economic growth and job creation, the government, in collaboration with stakeholders in the ICT sector, will continuously assess progress to ensure we remain focused on achieving our set objectives. Meetings like these are vital for tracking milestones and fostering collaboration. Additionally, I'll engage with other subsectors and stakeholders to seek insights and build synergies, driving our collective efforts towards advancing Kenya's digital transformation. We'll continue to streamline policies, invest in infrastructure, and ensure that the regulatory framework in place are conducive to both national and international investors. Our role as a government is to be a facilitator, to create opportunities and to remove barriers, including red tape. And again, here we must work together. We must share information. Again, we want to have evidence-based policies, and this can only be done if we are discussing in an open way, in a way that we want all to contribute to make Kenya the digital hub that it is. To our private sector partners, I urge you to continue investing in innovation, training, and infrastructure that will empower the next generation of leaders. Your involvement is crucial in ensuring that Africa's digital economy is ethical, inclusive, and resilient. Let us provide attachment again to our young people. Let us ensure that the young people we are getting from universities, they have the right skills to get into the industry. And again, this can happen if the private sector, we are accommodative enough to let them come, learn, and exchange knowledge. Some of us, when we chose to go to information science, to go to IT, we didn't have mentors to direct us. It is because of internship. So let us open our doors to have these young people come and learn and be able to shape their careers. You will agree with me that some of the greatest government projects and initiatives rolled out in the recent past greatly benefited from the commitment, support of private sector partners, and I thank you earnestly on behalf of my ministry and the government. Distinguished guests, in conclusion, the Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy is your avenue of engaging with the government. Let us continue to work together to grow the sector. Great if we can have periodic structured engagement, I think probably twice a year, and I'll ask TESPOC, CA, and the PSS, we organize that so that we meet the industry twice a year, just to discuss the challenges, opportunities, collaborations, so that we all move together. I wish once again to appreciate the sector regulator for driving the industry forward and pledge my ministry's continued collaboration to ensure better and more facilitative regulation of the sector. Thank you for your kind attention.
Before Madam CS takes her seat, I would like to take this opportunity to ask her to hand over and recognize the CA for the role that they have been playing. The CA received an award during the Africa Tech Festival for playing a leading role as a pioneer in policy development in the IPv6 migration. In this room, we have the infrastructure owners who deploy the IPv6 networks, who are supposed to be handling the migration, and there wouldn't be a better opportunity to hand this over to see and recognize them than today when we're talking about collaboration, because as service providers, we have received already IPv6 address blocks from Afrinic. For the last 5 years, they've been being given for free. We want to see the networks deploying the IPv6. The CA was gracious enough since the setup of the Kenya IPv6 chapter last year, where TESPOC and CA are co-chairs, to lead in developing an IPv6 strategy, and they are being recognized for that. So I'll ask if the DG, Mr. David Ngoni, please step forward, and I'll kindly ask you, Madam CS, to hand over from the front there, to hand over this trophy to the CA, appreciating them for the work that they have done and the strategy development that you're doing for the industry. And that was a regional recognition. So of all the regulators, you're leading in terms of putting this together. I really appreciate it. And so if you'll allow us, Madam CS, we want to open up the floor for any comments and feedback. We do have a few minutes where we can now, having had the way forward in terms of how government would like us to collaborate, if we can just have a brief conversation, then we'll have some announcements coming through from the PS Engineer Tanui and from our partners on Estonia on a number of things that industry needs to be aware of. But prior to that, open mic. Marilyn, where are you, the microphone? With any comments, just lift up your hand and the mic can be brought to you.